Yeah, Ray, I
Hey
like
everyone, and welcome on in to BTB Now. It is February 26,
Is
2018.
it?
We've
Gee.
got Jason, we've got Nick, and we have our special guest for the evening, Tyler Sandora,
What's going
who
on?
Make
can
a
hardly
wish.
show his face,
Yeah,
doesn't
technical
really want to
difficulties are
identify.
holding me back right now. We're working hard.
Since
Our
it's
my
not
technical
football
difficulty staff is on the case right now.
Tyler's
You mean
on the
IT?
computer.
No, I'm on my phone right now. I'm trying to get it on the computer.
Yeah, well, we'll work on that. But since it's not football season, we don't have much to talk about. So we're going to open up with our personal lives from the past week. And here to comment on his personal life is Nick Bogatis.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was.
excuse me. Head lifestyle blogger of Bergspell Sports, Nick Bogatis.
Yeah. So I don't know how many of you read the blog. Did all of you read the blog?
Yeah, I read it. I
I
thought
know
it was good.
Sandora read it. I'm assuming Ray read it.
I
Camper,
read
you read it? Okay, so it was a wild week in the life of me. I won't recap the blog because you can just read it.
Well, the idea is we want them to go read it.
Go and read the blog. But basically, long story short, I learned a lot about myself and my post-football season depression. I also learned that the double A MAC tournament starts on Thursday. So there's that. I don't know about any of the other conferences. I'm sure Sandora can fill me in on that.
Yeah, I forget who I have winning the MAC.
Okay, I didn't actually care. I just wanted to throw out the you.
Ivy
Iona.
League is the weekend of selection Sunday.
I have Iona.
I believe there will be 2/3 of the AnyPod
Okay.
there.
Ryder will probably win the conference, but that's neither here nor there.
I barely know her.
Okay, great. But yeah, so I thought all hope was lost. I thought I'd never watch a sport again ever. But then the Penguins traded for Derek Brassard in what was one of the craziest days I think in my entire life, because it featured just the overwhelming joy and laughing at despair.
So Ray, how's your day going?
Before my slumber. And
All right, so
it
I
was
totally
a very
missed-
emotional day. It was a great day, and then I was very excited about today in the trade deadline, and nothing really came of it. But yeah, we'll get into that later.
okay. I just
I
like
don't
to
know what you're
clarify.
laughing at, by the way.
We didn't hear anything you said.
Yeah, you froze twice during your little soliloquy.
Okay.
But just to comment on what I just heard, because I know you've been in a sad state of affairs recently, so we're being a little fragile with you.
Yeah.
I don't know how on this earth one of the greatest days of your existence was them trading for someone when you literally watched them win back-to-back Stanley Cups.
No. It wasn't the great. I use great in there was a great storyline. There was a great plot to my day. It wasn't just a happy day. It was a series of highs and lows and valleys and mountains and what have you. But I feel like someone should make a movie out of that day, because
Well, isn't that fantastic? You
It was-
are a 33% stake in a media company. It
yeah,
would
that's
be a
true.
fantastic
We don't
content
really
idea.
have the capability to make a movie yet, but we're getting there as that ad revenue slowly trickles in.
We are up 50% from last month.
Wow.
So we're not gonna release the figures because we don't want people to know just
don't
how
let
well
the IRS on us.
we don't want people to know just how well we're doing, but we are thriving.
Well,
Were there any
is that all you got?
questions you had for me? I know it was a great blog, but I mean,
Well, I think I can piggyback off this and call this an ultimate win on my part for the week. The Chief stays unbeaten. Fantastic week on my part. I managed to get you to write a blog, and now I have you at odds with all of AnyPod, which could cause for some great content.
can I discuss AnyPod real quick?
Oh yeah, go right ahead. Since we got
So
it going.
I listened to AnyPod,
Thank you.
and I
So
was
did I.
expecting what?
I did
I
too.
said thank
Okay.
you both.
Okay,
Thank you
great.
all.
So yeah, I listened to AnyPod. I was expecting a lot. I have to admit, I was a little disappointed because there was a severe lack of calling out and controversy and whatnot, and a severe over a surplus of prospect talk.
See, I think
now-
you just turned it off after 30 minutes and you
No.
didn't listen to the second half.
I swear to you, I listened to the entire thing. I did.
'Cause
I did, really, because right off, and I was wondering where this would go because right off the bat, huge MLB fan said how much he enjoys me and my Twitter, which I was shocked by. Well, I'm not really shocked because we're pretty much the same person at this point, but
Just one of you actually watches baseball.
well, no, that's not true because I watch baseball now. I'm actually in a Barry Bonds jersey as we speak, the greatest player to ever play the game. But yeah, I will be watching baseball. If you read my blog at all, you would know I will be watching baseball.
Right. After this is over,
But yeah,
do you wanna make a bet?
I'm just not into. I'm into hockey prospects. I'm not into baseball prospects. I'm into the big leaguers.
I'm into basketball prospects.
Yes, you
Really?
are.
Right
Very much
after
so.
this is
We'll
over,
get into the whole. I do want your take on the whole NCAA debacle, but
Yeah.
for now, we don't really get Sandor's take on huge MLB fan a whole lot.
Well, we had
if
my
you,
one.
if you
We
look
had
at
my
huge
one
MLB
take that
fans
is now.
banner,
Yeah, we had my one take that is now his Twitter banner.
Oh, that was you? I thought that was the intern.
that was Sandora.
Oh,
And then
excuse me.
I said something else about him one time. Forget what it was. I thought he was Jason for the longest time.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, him-
Wait.
Wait,
Okay,
read
wait,
it?
no.
Have you read
him and
his timeline at all?
No, there was one night. I think it was the night that intern and I were like trying to figure it out, and like the timeline added up. It was like Jason was tweeting things from certain accounts, and then MLB fan tweeted something that looked like something Jason would tweet, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, we caught him like red-handed," and then like it just went like our theory kind of unraveled from there.
And then the next night, me and huge MLB fan were having enough fun with that, where we decided that I would tweet something from my account that made it look like a huge MLB fan tweet,
Right.
and just to try to mess with their heads, and it did. They figured it out.
To piggyback off that theory, I'm not totally we're not totally out of the woods yet on huge MLB fan being someone that Cantor knows that none of us know that he's brought along.
I
Has
mean,
anybody ever
I
met him in
kind of,
person?
I haven't met him per se, but I feel like I know him on a spiritual level.
You haven't met him, Ray. You had the chance to meet him when we went to that Phillies game where
Well, now
where
you're
Kelly had the
risking
walk-off.
revealing his identity. I don't think he appreciates that very much.
I was literally just about to say that he graphs.
Oh, now you gave him away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, wow, that was horrible.
because he never
Jason-
talks about it on Twitter.
Jason,
Yes,
you know what's happening.
what's happening?
You did it to yourself this time, kid. All right. He's been
Wait,
muted for a
what
little
did I
bit.
do?
We have an anonymous internet commenter, and you're really just coming after us. So we really need you to respect his
An
privacy.
anonymous internet commenter that talks about graphing.
Oh my God.
That's fair. That is. I still don't understand the correlation between graphing and the rack life, but I think that's a question for him.
I believe, I'm not 1,000% sure on this, and I could get roasted by him. He's not watching, so it doesn't matter. But I believe just like the rack, like if you get a bunch of graphs, like that's a rack. I think.
Okay.
I don't know for sure.
I would also like to point out potential business endeavor for Bergspell Sports. Just graphing.
Make your money off.
I think that is like. I think I agree with like the old men yelling at cloud that like that's a kid thing. Like anyone who, I understand there's a business to be made,
disagree with
business
you
to
so
be
much.
made from it, but I just think it's such a childish thing because I used to be into graphs when I was younger,
Oh,
and
let's
now
be
I've
clear.
kind of like I have some graphs. If you want to see them, I can go grab some. But it's such a childish thing because when you think about it,
if we're talking about graphs, we're gonna have to show you this. This is a signed Bill Walton basketball. How about that?
Did you just have that at your disposal, knowing we were going to talk about autographing?
No, I just heard you start talking about it.
Wait. Ray keeps trying to cut me off. I haven't even given my take yet. Graphing is such a childish thing because when you think about it, what purpose does it serve?
It's cool.
Anybody.
It's cool to. Have you seen Ray's basement? It's cool to have those like collector's items, and I'd rather get them straight from the player than buy them. And plus, literally, whenever you get a player to sign something, it's like, don't put this on eBay. So, like, I think they respect it. Like, if you're actually like out there.
No, I think I don't even think respect is the word. I think pity is a better word.
Pity's a better word, but still.
Okay.
Pity's a better word.
I'm going to say it for the third time, just to be clear. Tyler and I are big J's, so we don't ask for autographs. I was just looking for the AnyPod to make me some money.
I don't ask for autographs. I get phone numbers.
That is fair. I get height weights.
Can I steal that from my Twitter bio?
I'm gonna tweet that from BTB.
I could Sandora. I could use your help in my math class then.
Wait, what was it? I don't ask for autographs. I get phone numbers, or I ask for phone numbers.
I get phone numbers. I don't think I've ever. To be honest, I'm being honest. I don't think I've ever been denied a phone number. Humble brag.
Huge MLB fan was
denied. I have been either. I think we.
They never say. People never say no.
Yes, they do. Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, if you ask a girl for a phone number, but if you
no, that's not even what I meant.
I know. I'm talking
no. That's actually a fair point. No one ever says
big J's don't get denied.
But people, like some people, don't say yes, but people will never say no. I guess.
Or they give it to you, and then you try to get in contact with them, and they just blow you off.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they always.
I'm in case you didn't know, I'm on the job hunt.
Yeah, okay, we'll talk about job hunt actually later. So Jason, you've got nothing going on. Just an assumption. Tyler, I would just like to jump into the NCAA stuff since we're done talking about our personal lives after football season.
Somebody takes the fire off.
Yeah, keep taking shots.
Tell me what's going on, Tyler. Pretty much enlighten us.
All right, so I'm going to stop looking for technical difficulties on my. Does that work?
Yeah, that works.
So, my theory is it's happening or it's going to happen no matter what. And if you're going to stop it, it's going to take like you're not going to stop it or change the landscape of it overnight. So, what happened with Arizona where Sean Miller allegedly they wiretapped his phone and he called the mom of the prospect and they guaranteed him $100,000, I think it was. Like, I mean, if they caught him red-handed, like, people were making a big deal, like, oh, Sean Miller's a bad guy. Like, there's a really good chance the coach of your team did that once or twice, too. So, like, yeah, Sean Miller is probably not the right decision to do that, but don't think he's the only person that's doing that. And I think it goes on a lot more than people think. But I don't think it is what people think it is. Like, there were coaches from Villanova that were in that Yahoo report, but that was like buying Kyle Lowry's mom dinner. Like, that's not giving Kyle Lowry $5,000 and saying, come play at Villanova. So I think people tried to get away with stuff that I don't know if they were sure it was an NCAA violation or not. But it happens all over the place. And even today, a kid decommitted from Georgia, and Georgia was not even part of the FBI probe, but there's a good chance that they probably will be investigated more thoroughly now because a kid decided to get out of there.
Can you explain something to me, though? Because I feel like all of the sports media has been awful covering this, and they haven't explained this at all.
Well, the FBI scares a lot of people away. It's not like you're dealing with.
Okay, but like ESPN is the news. I think they should. And they have people that are more than capable of reporting on legal matters. So I think they should be able to discuss this in a semi-intelligent way. What what is making this? What is making the FBI interested in this? Like, what's the federal crime here in paying the players?
That's actually a really good question because
I know it was.
there
Thank
is
you.
no law, like federal law, that says you're breaking the law by paying people to come to your college.
Like,
But
I know it has something to do with the collusion with the sneaker companies and everything, but I don't really know what they did.
I think the FBI was a big part of it because the FBI has a lot more access to things than just the NCAA does. And with the sneaker companies and that kind of thing, and, you know, giving people money to sign with agents as a youth, that's obviously not right. But, I mean, with the FBI getting involved either means that the NCAA really wants to get rid of it, so they brought, like, federal crime into it. So my guess is it would have to do with the NCAA trying to get rid of it as soon as possible. But like you said, there's no law that says, like, not in the Constitution, says you can't pay a kid to come play at your school.
Yeah.
So, but with the FBI in it, I think a lot of people get scared. And that's what the NCAA wants. They want people to be scared. Because then when you're scared, you don't do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's still like, there's no actual, like, FBI stuff. They said they have a wiretap, but it hasn't been released yet. I mean, it could just, they might be bluffing on a lot of this stuff and just saying, we have the FBI involved, so don't try anything because we'll get you. And people are just going to, like, back off and say, okay, well, we don't need that. We don't want to get involved in that. So that would be my guess.
I just with everything going on, and I don't really want to get into that, but it really makes me question things that the FBI is dedicating a significant amount of resources to wiretapping Sean Miller.
Well, it's different branches.
I saw your retweet about that. Yeah.
No,
It's
and
different
it's obviously not a direct correlation there. But for them to be dedicating any kind of resources to wiretapping Sean Miller, I think that's a bit of an issue.
The FBI did so much stuff behind the scenes that you don't know about.
Problem is,
I think that
just to get to our expert here, I know it would break the intern's heart if St. Joe's was at all a part of this investigation. Could you give me a likelihood that because they said first round pick from the last 3 years, DeAndre Bembry was a first round pick. People forget that.
Yeah, I tweeted about that because John Gassaway tweeted there was like 4 schools that had a top first round pick in the last 3 years that wouldn't get involved. It was like Murray State, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico State, and St. Joe's. I thought that was a very funny tweet by John Gassaway.
So you can confirm they're safe.
Listen, I'm a big J in the Philadelphia high school landscape. The FBI and Yahoo, FBI, like that whole stuff. It's a little bit above my pay grade.
Listen, we're not here for you to talk on your pay grade. If we were all talking on our pay grade, there would be
we wouldn't be talking.
We would just be a bunch of aimless people who just lost their only viewer and are back down to 0 viewers.
That's fair.
Like,
I was very anti Sandora coming on the show because he's the only one that watches the show. But as far as the NCAA goes, it's okay. We'll get over it. As far as the NCAA goes, my problem is this problem is so easily fixed, and everybody in the media just goes, "Oh, well, you got to pay the players," or like, "Well, they have a scholarship, so like, I don't know what your problem is." The system is already in place in hockey and in baseball. You let everyone get drafted out of high school. They have the ability to see where they get drafted. They have the ability to negotiate, see how much they're worth. And afterwards, they can decide to go to college and will be, in the case of MLB, I think they have to stay for 3 years. So
yeah, but
if they choose to go,
how many rounds do they have? So many kids get drafted.
Yeah, I know. So they have if someone is worth it at coming out of high school, if they have the ability to get paid, and even extend it to undrafted prospects. If they are approached by a team, they have the ability to negotiate before the next college basketball season starts. And if they are not approached or are not happy with that offer, then they go to school. The team retains their rights, and they have to stay there for, say, 2 or 3 years.
Okay, well, if you look at the kids coming out of high school, there's probably only 10 to 15 kids that are good enough to get drafted right then. Maybe not even that much.
Yeah.
I would say on average probably 10 maybe.
But that eliminates.
Oh my gosh, wait, are you guys watching the Duke game?
No.
Buzz Williams, the coach of Virginia Tech, just took the microphone at the game and just like yelled at the ref for making a bad call, like the PA. That was beautiful.
Wait, Sandora. I asked Ray this question a couple months ago. When did Buzz Williams get hair?
That's a good question. At Marquette, he didn't have any, did he?
Yeah.
He just took like the PA system and just yelled at the ref like in front of the whole arena. That was beautiful.
Alpha move.
But wait. My one thing with that whole scenario, because I think that is the way to do it. I think the one problem with it is that those guys still can't hire agents. Like I remember there was a thing a couple years ago where the Phillies drafted a couple guys in like the mid rounds of the MLB draft, and they ended up not signing, and then the Phillies snitched on them because they hired agents. So like there's still going to be but I think that's like more of like an amateur government thing than it's just like leagues making it legal.
Amateurism has nothing to do with a legal definition or anything. That is strictly that for a fact I know. That has nothing to do with that. It's just an NCAA rule.
Bogatis once tried to go pro from JV basketball, so he's kind of an expert in this field.
But yeah, I just think it's so simple. I've always been, throughout all the SBC debates and everything, I've always been a proponent of allowing players to just don't pay the players, just allow them to make the money off their likeness. Give them a cut of jersey sales, give them a cut of whatever that's directly influenced by their name and their performance. Right. That way, and have it all above board, and you don't have, like, that way.
Well, wait, see, there's no way to know if people are buying number 15 Florida jerseys because they like Tim Tebow or whether they're just.
But that's what I'm saying. So
I know.
if they want, okay, there's only number 15 at his time at school. There's only.
One I'm
number
joking
15.
Because the NCAA will.
Yeah,
the NCAA will say that. Like, yeah.
Okay. I thought you were making a legitimate argument and just being a jerk. But
okay, I have to interject here. So I was wrong about the Buzz Williams thing. He yelled to the student section to stop chanting "Grayson sucks" to Grayson Allen, like on the PA system, like to the student section.
Okay, so you're actually fake news. But
I got this turned up. And the TV's on low, so I kind of heard it. But that was actually hilarious.
Maybe he's just trying to generate some buzz around this game. I'll mute myself.
Yeah, thank you.
So another thing about having the agents and stuff, high school kids are technically allowed to go, like, to lunch with an agent because
they're not an NCAA.
Right.
Player.
Then the problem that people have, they'll say that, like, when you get to the NCAA, it'll be like, well, you've already had stuff paid for. Like that's what I don't understand. Like LeBron in high school, somebody bought him like a Hummer, and he drove it around, and like the NCAA like investigated him, and like the state association, like the sports state association in Ohio investigated him and like said he was ineligible to play and he had to miss some games. Like somebody bought him a Hummer. So what? Like somebody buys me a birthday present. Like I'm not gonna get. You know what I mean? Like,
but I feel like we're all pretty much, and it obviously comes down to money for the NCAA. But I feel like pretty much everyone in the country has like a similar opinion on this. That like, except for maybe Dan Dockich.
Oh, he's the worst.
Yeah, I know.
He didn't know Chris Farley was dead.
Yeah, I saw that.
He didn't think he was funny either.
Which is more ridiculous. But I just think that if you,
I think Ravel's a big don't pay them guy too.
But Ravel's in a league of his own. I just if you implement a system where these payments are allowed to be made above board, then you don't have any of this necessary. You say, kid, we're not going to pay you to come. No one's going to pay you to come here because based on your performance at any given school, you will make your money here, or you can go and make it in the pros. It's up to you, whatever. And
the thing is, I think the kids that are not like NCAA athletes, they want to get paid based on their jersey sales, and they're
Yeah.
reputation. They want to make money off of that. They're
Which is
already getting
fair.
a free education. They want to get money from based on what they do. That's what I think. That's based on what I've
But
seen. On Twitter.
that's the thing. Anyone on a tuba scholarship can get money elsewhere. So why do people on an athletic scholarship be treated differently?
Well,
The NCAA acts. One of the bigger issues is just the anti-capitalistic system, because they act as if these rules and regulations make it an even playing field for all the schools.
Exactly.
Even if, let's say in a perfect world, none of these payments were made, Alabama isn't taking away recruits from UAB, or
Yes.
on any other thing than everyone will still, all the top talent will still go to all the big schools. You might have a couple people here and there going to. What do you mean? They might not go to all the powerhouses. Maybe some people might go to Georgia instead of Kentucky.
Well, no, I'm saying you have to make a baseline salary for the players, and then you would get bonuses based off of jersey sales or how much you win or that kind of thing. But
I'm not sure I agree.
You go to Alabama, you get more money than going to UAB, because then nobody's going to go to UAB.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it should be a salary. Because if you're that good at UAB, people are going to buy your jersey.
That's not necessarily true.
I'm saying in as far as the national audience, if you think there wasn't a standout quarterback at UAB that people and was loved throughout the country, that people wouldn't buy his jersey.
They would.
No one knew who Carson Wentz was when he was at North Dakota State. It's the same thing.
Okay.
How often?
But he wasn't beloved nationally. I'm saying if a Deshaun Watson went to UAB,
but if Carson Wentz went to a big school, he would have been beloved nationally.
Okay.
So he was not beloved nationally because he went to a small school. If a guy goes to UAB, he's not going to be beloved nationally.
Listen, I think I can sort out our differences here. You people hate the players, except for Nick.
I am pro people making money, and you guys are not.
I am pro people making money too.
I am pro people making money off their own name and their achievements. I just think it's silly to pretend someone from Alabama is going to get the same love as someone who goes to UAB.
But that's what I'm saying. People are going to go to the big schools no matter what.
Okay, that's fair. I didn't think that's what you were saying.
That was literally the first thing I said.
But in terms of this FBI probe, there are people that are going to smaller schools now because they're afraid that they don't want to touch the big schools that are getting in trouble because they don't want to get in trouble.
So it's
Vanderbilt has a top 5 recruiting class this year. Vanderbilt sucks at basketball.
Yeah, but they'll find a way to mess it up.
Those kids chose Vanderbilt over Duke, Kentucky, Arizona. All the schools that are being questioned now in the FBI probe, they're going to go there for 1 year. Then they're going to go right to the NBA. Kids aren't worried about going to the college because we like the academics. They want the quickest route to the NBA, and no matter what they tell you, that's what they want.
Now, my question: do you think that because Duke got the top 3 recruits, Reddish, Zion, and I forget who the other guy is,
RJ
Barrett, do you think there's a sense within the college basketball world that nothing's going to happen to them?
What do you mean?
Because I can't imagine all 3 of those guys would go there if they thought there was a chance that they would get some sort of sanctions.
When RJ and Cam both committed, the FBI stuff didn't come out yet.
But wasn't Zion going to go to Clemson at first? Or
yeah, he was. Clemson and South Carolina were the 2 favorites, and he pretty much surprised everybody. It sounded like by going to Duke. But I mean, they take that kind of stuff into consideration. But then you've seen a lot of kids that don't sign on signing day, like Sharif O'Neal, Shaq's son, who just committed from Arizona. He signed non-binding scholarship papers and never signed the national letter of intent. So he was able to just get out of there yesterday when he did, because all that stuff had come out about Sean Miller.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, kids consider that when obviously you don't want to go, Arizona's not going to get any 5-star recruits in the next week because nobody wants to go near them. because kids want to be able to play in college. They don't want to be wrapped up in the NCAA sanctions and have to sit out a year.
He went in and out right there, but I think what he's saying is kids want to play in the NBA fast, and if they have to sit out a year due to eligibility problems with the FBI probe, they won't go there. Is that pretty much what you went on?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, then there's so many different options coming out now because the NCAA has problems going overseas, sitting out a year. Mitchell Robinson graduated from high school last year. He had committed to 4 different colleges. He decided to just sit at home and train all year. He plays in like an adult rec league at his local Y.
Am I crazy for thinking that the JBA might become basketball's minor league?
Why not go? What they could do, Nick, you said earlier about testing the draft waters and stuff in high school. Let them
not even testing the draft waters.
Like, let them go to the D League. Let them
straight up go.
No, D League's a trap.
I would be in favor of the JBA becoming what the CHL is to hockey.
I think the problem is
like a minor league. It's going to take a lot for the first kid who's ever going to decide to do that. That's a lot.
Exactly. And I don't think it's going to take them a while to – how many teams are they trying to field?
I have no clue.
Like,
I'm just waiting. I wait for LeVar to tell me.
I'm waiting till I see the invitation.
You see guys do what Emmanuel Mudiay did, what Terrence Ferguson did, and I think there's more guys that are fine doing that. Who?
Brandon Jennings.
Overseas.
Oh, yes. I was so long ago I forgot about it. But, like, there's enough guys doing that, and there's enough guys seeing, like, hey, if I have NCAA issues, I can just go to Australia for a year. Like,
yeah.
I do think it'll be interesting because, like, Luka Doncic, I don't think there's a question he should be drafted number 1 just because of what he – you do? Because Aiton's so good?
College basketball.
What?
Marvin Bagley's the best player, and I don't even think it's close.
I think what Doncic is doing, he's at the same age in that whatever EuroLeague he's in.
How old is he?
He's 19, I think.
Or 18 or 19.
Is he 19?
He's going to be 19 by the time of the draft.
Yeah, he's the same age as everyone else. But like there is some, I guess there's some sort of a spotlight loss, and I think if there's more success stories that come out of it, like if Terrence Ferguson turns into something good, if people, even if Doncic wasn't here and then went over, but still people see a guy who is playing overseas get taken early, I think the more success stories people see, the more tempted they'll be to do it.
Yeah, but also in this world of social media and I want to be recognized, you go to Australia for a year.
That's the problem.
You're not going to, like, Terrence Ferguson was a high school like celebrity because he could go between the legs when he was a freshman and stuff. And then, you go overseas and people forget him, and then he gets drafted and they're like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that guy, but he went overseas. But
like they have scouts out there. So that's
they have scouts.
No, yeah. The scouts aren't the ones that forget about him. It's the kids on social media.
No, so that's what I'm saying. If you're that short-sighted to prioritize people's feelings on social media over A, your draft stock, and B, making money, that's a you problem. And I don't think I'd really want to draft a guy like that.
Nick, we're not talking. I don't think we're talking so much just about the kids like the intern who sit there and tweet at their favorite basketball players all the time. Like,
no, but that's what I'm saying. If you care about recognition,
no, that's not what we're
sell the
talking about.
intern short. He makes accounts for his favorite players.
We're not talking about those kids. We're talking about the hype train that surrounds a player. You don't get as much out of that news cycle that tends to flow around like a guy like you saw Lonzo Ball last year in the draft. If you looked up Lonzo Ball on Twitter last year before the draft, he was probably coming up every 2 seconds, someone new tweeting about him. Like there was just a hype train rolling over him. 24/7 news coverage about Lonzo Ball.
Well, that's
it's an idea of having your name.
I think that was more so his dad than him being in college. I just think that if you're a lottery pick, the scouts will make you a lottery pick no matter what.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that if you're concerned about that hype train in college, when you're guaranteed a hype train, if you're a lottery talent, if you're that concerned about the hype train in college, when you're guaranteed a hype train in the NBA, that's kind of a red flag for me.
Yeah.
Now, here's we talk about how like being in college is so much more like there's more exposure to being overseas. How different is what Markelle Fultz went through last year than to what guys who go overseas? Because Markelle Fultz really didn't get that much attention last year, just because A, Washington was so bad, and B, because the Pac-12 can kind of midweek Pac-12 games can kind of be like overseas games because most people aren't staying up at 10 p.m. on a Wednesday to watch a game.
If Bill Walton's calling it, I am. I understand your point, though. That's another thing with people leaving. Like, do you want to go to a school that's not going to get you attention? Like, I understand what you're saying about going overseas. Like, you could get kind of lost in the flow of things.
Sauce.
Yeah, but then people want to go to Duke. Like, people, when they say they go to Duke, they want to be on TV. They want to have the easiest path to the NBA. It depends on if that's really your mindset or if you want to win. Because if you want to win, I like what Markelle Fultz did because he knows if in the NBA one day he wants to be the leader of a team, like go to a team that's bad and you know you're going to get drafted in the top 5 or in the lottery. Go to a team that's bad, learn how to be a leader, learn how to be the best player on the team. Like
and have Skip Bayless sit there and tell you not to win
and just spew cliches all day.
Well, I don't think Markelle Fultz came into the season thinking we're going to win the national championship at Washington.
Yeah.
I don't think he thought they were going to go 500. If he looked around, that's a character flaw on my part. If he looked around at that team when he got to Washington and was like, "Man, we got a chance at going 500." Like that's a legitimate character flaw. That's an undraftable player right there.
Well, in fairness to him, he committed there because he was under the assumption that he would be playing with Marquise Chris and DeJounte Murray, and then they played so unexpectedly well their freshman years that they ended up being lottery picks. I'm not sure if Murray was, but
Murray was not. Murray got picked by the Spurs, so no way they were in the lottery.
Okay, but they both ended up being first-round picks.
Can I just make a point since I heard something said and I just want to keep going with it. The scouts will make you a lottery pick. People forget that Giannis Antetokounmpo
was a lottery
15th
pick.
overall. 15th overall pick, not a lottery pick. Went overseas.
That's the first pick out of the lottery.
Drafted beyond the likes of Anthony Bennett, Cody Zeller,
Michael Carter-Williams.
I'm gonna get there. We're going in order.
Okay, but like Greg Oden should have been
Noel.
Like should have been a top 5 pick. Like
I'm taking a 5-minute break here, guys.
Like Kwame Brown should have been a top 5 pick.
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope
should have been a lottery pick.
Michael Carter-Williams
was absolutely a lottery pick.
Yeah, he absolutely was. You're right. And if he didn't hurt his shoulder in his first NBA season, he'd be an all-star.
Like I don't think Manu Ginobili should have been a lottery pick. But he has the value of a lottery pick. Like that doesn't prove anything to me as much as I love Giannis.
I think it does because he was probably one of the more intriguing prospects in that draft, and he was totally lost in the hype train.
Okay.
But hey, listen, Nick,
who wants to talk about the trade deadline?
Hey, Nick, we live in America. We can disagree here.
Yeah.
Oh wait. So speaking of hot stoves, JD Martinez.
No, stop it.
I don't want to talk baseball until baseball starts, but
baseball started.
Baseball did not start.
There was hockey. As a hockey hardo, I got to defend my fellow.
We have to. Oh, the Knights. Did you see what the Knights almost did today?
You guys hear me?
What first, second, and third rounder? What were they thinking?
No.
Wait,
I thought that was
that the proposed package for Carlson?
No. That's what they gave up for Tatar, which I thought was an overpayment.
Oh,
but
it was. We were supposed to own the entire draft.
That's not the story. That's not the story here. Do you know what the Golden Knights almost did today?
They almost traded for Carlson, right?
Yeah, they almost traded for Carlson.
Yeah.
Listen, I was plugged in.
Who did you follow today?
I followed one of my friends who's a big hockey fan.
Is that
That's
Nick?
it. He's the only. That's the only
Ooh.
person you followed today.
No, I mean I casually like looked up Vegas Golden Knights on Twitter and like kind of went through mentions and stuff. You
But
know.
wait, you didn't like follow Bob McKenzie. You didn't watch the TSN stream. You didn't do any of those things.
No.
Okay. So much for being a hockey hardo.
No, you see, I have this thing called school.
I was in school and I watched the TSN stream.
Yeah, well, that's a thing.
I'm
that's
pretty
a-
sure you were texting all day.
That's a lie.
Okay.
Can't confirm. or
Cantor,
deny.
thoughts? What's your biggest deadline deal?
Well, does that have
Oh
to be
wait,
today? 'Cause
no,
my
wait.
biggest deal
I'm not even gonna
is
ask you that question. Let's talk about this McDonough deal. How on earth? So here's my theory. I think Yzerman has catfished Jeff Gordon and is currently blackmailing him because there is no possible way the same GM for the Rangers made the Rick Nash trade and made the McDonough trade.
Wait, they traded McDonough and JT Miller. I don't know what the return was. I fell
They got
asleep at
a
2:00.
first. They got a first, a second that becomes a first if the Lightning win the Stanley Cup this year or next year. They got Nemesnikov, Libor Hayek, and Brett Howden, which I thought was a good return for McDonough.
But then JT Miller.
But JT Miller would have been an RFA. So at the very minimum, you would have gotten a second rounder for JT Miller when he's worth much more than that. JT Miller is like, what, 22 years old?
And is there a thing with JT Miller, like they have to give more if they sign him? Like with the Mrazek deal, the Flyers gave up a fourth, and then if they re-sign Mrazek, they have to give up.
No.
They have
The
to
only
give their-
condition is that one of the is that the second round pick becomes a first round if they win the Stanley Cup,
Huh.
which is ridiculous.
I don't. Maybe
JT, like now, even if the Lightning don't re-sign JT Miller, they get a second round pick.
who knows? Maybe I don't know. I never like to
And
doubt trades.
Not
Just
one of
because
those
I think
prospects is Brett Howden's pretty good, but like not him or Hayek, they're not an elite level prospect. The Rangers should have absolutely gotten Sergachev or Point,
My friend was
right
upset
now.
about that.
huh?
My friend was upset about that.
He's a Rangers fan.
Yes, and McDonough guy, big McDonough guy. He got the jersey and everything.
Well, McDonough's the captain, so I don't know. My friend who's a Rangers fan, just said as long as they don't trade Zuccarello, they're good. But
Well, he has a bad history of jerseys. He's also a Jets fan, so you can see how things deteriorate from there.
yeah,
Is that how you got your Tebow Jets jersey?
That is not how I got my Tebow Jets jersey. That was $15 at a Schuylkill Valley Sporting Goods going out of business.
And then
That was well worth
Well,
it.
I mean, we might as well touch on one Pittsburgh or Philadelphia thing in the show. Obviously, I was very pleased with the Derek Brassard deal, and then I was upset today because it looked like we were going to get Ian Cole. It looked like we might be in the running for Ryan McDonough, and then we never actually got a defenseman, which we need desperately to replace Matt Hunwick. And we traded Greg McKegg, which I was also very emotional about. I think Josh Joris is an upgrade over Greg McKegg, but I just love Greg McKegg and being able to use McKegg in certain contexts. But hopefully Matt Hunwick can become the Ron Hainsey of 2018, and I can sit in Buffalo Wild Wings and cry as Matt Hunwick dekes out two players and they collide into each other and then runs a perfect give and go and scores in the Stanley Cup. But
Now, how about that same Buffalo Wild Wings trip, but instead of Game 6 of the Cup Finals, it's Game 6 of Flyers Pens Eastern Conference Finals.
So
I would like if it was Flyers Pens, I wanted to go to Chickies. I don't get to go
True.
but
Would you want to cut?
that's what I'm gonna cut
Would
you
you
off
want to
there.
be here?
I don't know. That's a big risk.
Because like that may be a risk to your health.
I think I'd come for an early game. I wouldn't be able to do a late game with you guys.
So wait. I want to clear this up because I've got some acquaintances that are
actually, here's a great segment here. Ray, what are your questions about hockey?
No. Here's the deal. So I was sitting sitting today in class, just minding my own business, and I
get some icing?
I was hearing some hockey talk. So naturally, I barge into the conversation, being the hockey hardo I am, and they're talking about the Flyers win the cup. Like, people have started to steamroll over the idea of even like winning a series.
Okay, those people are morons.
They were talking about the Flyers winning the cup. And I want to come out here in a statement. This is an official statement. If our 0 viewers could write this down in pen, I don't have anything around me, but I want this to be an official statement from the office.
It's going in my notes.
From the offices of the Chief. It is February 26, 2018, 9:19 p.m. And the Philadelphia Flyers are not getting out of the first round.
I just threw my phone. See, hold on. You need to know something. We haven't come this far over the last 3 months of talking ourselves into things that have seemed impossible to stop here.
I feel a dangerous association of we. I was able to convince myself Nick Foles could win a Super Bowl, and I think that's where I stop.
Hold on, wait. That's not true. You convinced yourself Nick Foles was going to win the Super Bowl about 2 days before the Super Bowl. Before that, you were convinced he was going to lose to the Falcons, and then you were convinced he was going to lose to the Vikings.
I would like to clarify one thing. I thought they'd lose to the Falcons, not the Vikings.
Okay, that's fair.
Do you guys want to talk LeBron Philly?
Yes, I do.
We weren't done. Wait, we weren't done with that. Johnny Oduya, thoughts?
Oh, Johnny Oduya.
Doesn't do it for me.
I've been a big Johnny Oduya guy for many years now. I've made too many Oduya puns to myself alone in my room for my life. So they may have to stop now because I think I actually have some sort of a sense of self-respect, believe it or not.
No, you don't.
Actually, I'm waiting. I'm going to get a golden picture of Oduya standing as the Penguins score the game-winning goal in Game 7 of that first-round series. And I'm going to do a little, do you want to score? And then my mentions just be flooded with the Flyers faithful coming after me and really hurting me.
Here's my question. So I actually don't know if you've ever actively rooted for the Flyers, but if you have, is your hockey hardo status making that disappear?
No. I absolutely root for the Flyers 100%. You forget that I have a realistic take on life. You always seem to forget that on this show I am supposed to bridge the gap between your delusions and Nick's lifestyle, I guess, is probably what we can. So here I am, just giving it to you straight from the brain onto the computer. That's all it is.
Wait, can I clarify my delusions? Because I have the same approach on life too. Before something actually happens, I try not to stress about it. I'll try to be like, this is gonna go fine, everything's gonna go well. And then the second I'm actually watching the game, I would be scared to death. Every time the opposing team touches the puck, I think it's gonna result in a goal. It's true.
Well, I mean, you've seen the defense the Flyers have had for the past few years. I mean, I would tend to agree with that statement. I've been fearful as well.
Speaking of the Flyers defense, we're knotted up in a 0-0 tie after 2 periods.
Ooh, well, we better get this thing over with so I could catch the third period.
Oh, I see. I've been split screening you guys in the first 2 periods.
Well, you see, I'm dedicated to my job. So, Tyler, you want to talk LeBron to Philly?
I would love to. Now, one hockey thing before we end hockey talk. My one friend and I, he's a diehard Yankees fan, and he's like my best friend.
That is not a hockey team.
And he's like my best. His whole family from New York, so he's got a legit excuse. And I just rip on him about Derek Jeter being overrated, literally every day we argue about it.
As one should.
Yes,
he's literally the most overrated player to ever play the game.
Yeah, and he probably knows nothing about hockey whatsoever. And the other day, he said to me, we should become hockey fans. So right now, him and I are technically unofficial fans of the Vancouver Canucks.
You could have picked the worst team.
Are they the worst team? I didn't even look
No. Probably
we were
Arizona.
class the other day. He's like, let's become Canucks fans, and I was like, all right. So,
He probably remembers from when they lost the cup in 7 and then burnt their entire city to the ground.
Yeah, that was a rough time in our fan base, but we can talk LeBron to Philly now.
But wait, Sandora, I'm not sure how I know you are probably our most diehard fan right now besides Harry Jacobs, but what I'm not sure of is how long you've been our most diehard fan, because an article appeared on Berg to Bell in about July stating that LeBron to Philly was an actual possibility. Not sure what splendid person would have said that, but
No, I understand you put that article out there, and I commend you for that. It was very good work.
thank you. Give me a percentage, because I was talking to someone today who doesn't follow the NBA much, and he was like astonished when I said it was a greater than 50% chance that LeBron leaves. And I just thinking about it, there's only there can't be more than 4 teams, right? Cleveland, LA, Philly. Who else is actually a possibility? The Spurs, maybe?
Phoenix. I feel like they always get thrown in there.
Yeah, they're always.
They got thrown in there with Blake.
No, they got thrown in there with LeBron last time.
Did they?
Here's my take on it. In the NBA today, you're not going to contend for or win the championship unless you have a top 3 player in your team.
Multiple.
That is LeBron,
Multiple.
KD,
Because
Steph
Kevin
Curry.
Durant. So yeah.
Because listen, you think James Harden's a top 5 player in the NBA?
No.
Yes.
He is. Him by himself, he can't win. The Rockets are going to win the championship with him as their star player. So if
well, that's why they brought on Chris Paul.
Yeah, but Chris Paul's not going to. No offense to Chris Paul, but the two of them are not going to beat LeBron. Like in the NBA today, you're not going to win unless you have the top player in your team. And next year, I'm the biggest Sixers fan as the next guy, but Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons are not top 3 players in the league, and the two of them are not going to
I
win
disagree.
Sixers championship. So if you
I
bring LeBron in, you're
disagree.
immediately a contender or the favorite to win. And I know like Philly fans would be pissed with like the national media if they're like, because the national media would obviously rip Philly. Like
National media sucks.
You wouldn't be like they would say things like the process didn't work. All you had to do was sign LeBron and then you won. But a championship is a championship, and having LeBron on your team is going to increase the chances of winning by 1 billion%.
Oh, fantastic!
Well, and,
all right,
and
I'm glad you did that, Tyler. I'm really glad you brought that up. I'm most happy that you mentioned that Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons won't be top 3 players, because you reminded me
flat out wrong.
There will be a former number 1 overall pick returning to the floor for the Sixers next year, which means you're implying that player will be a top 3 player. And I agree with that take. Markelle Fultz will in fact be a top 3 player.
Nah, I disagree.
Fultz, Embiid, Simmons.
I'm very anti-Fultz, in case you didn't.
Why?
I'm not anti-Fultz, but I don't love him.
I don't think we should have traded for him.
I
don't think we should have drafted him.
I said it on draft night of the 3rd floor. We should.
I think not only is his shot broke, he himself is broke.
I can't wait till he breaks out and just
Hey, quick question.
I'm in a win-win here, because either I'm right or my team wins.
But your team, how many games have you watched?
Several.
2?
No, several.
Sandora, I'd like to give your opinion, because I remember back in 2016, I saw this argument resurface today. That's why I think it's relevant. You were a big Ingram over Simmons guy.
Have the biggest.
Have we changed our views?
Somewhat. I think that Brandon Ingram was more ready to play at the NBA level than Ben Simmons was when he got drafted, and I thought that he has a lot more potential than Ben Simmons does. But based on what I've seen from Simmons, I think I was sticking to that prediction, because if I would have changed, then people would have been like, "Oh, you just didn't want to admit you're wrong." But like, I'll admit that I think I was wrong on that take, but I still think Brandon Ingram's going to be a beast.
What do you think Simmons shoots from the line last year if he plays?
I honestly think sitting out a year was the best thing that could have happened to him. And
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you like? Do you think he would have been at 50%?
I don't know. I mean, not just the free throw shooting, but everything. Like you sit out a year, you practice, you train at the NBA level. That it's shown that it helps a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was Ingram being thrown into the mix right away and immediately being one of the best players on the Lakers, but I thought Brandon Ingram had a chance to be a lot better than what he's shown so far. He still has, like, for a second-year player, I mean, he's still pretty good.
Yeah, and that's
It's not
we lose track of how young these guys are. He's 20 years old. He's shown flashes. Like even Giannis, it took him like 2 or 3 years to really break out and become the star that he is. Ingram has shown flashes this year where he's had games where he's took over. There was one during December when it was like there were like 2 weeks where the Lakers and Warriors played like 4 times. There were a couple of those games where Ingram went straight toe to toe with Durant and played well. Right. So he's shown that he can carry himself as not necessarily a star, but a high volume scorer on a good team.
And while I'm gonna take this full circle. I'm gonna make a quick segue here. Ingram playing on the Lakers, who happen to be in prime contention for a player we talked about just a few minutes ago, LeBron James. Even though he'll never go to LA and he just owns homes there because that's what the rich people do.
I disagree with that.
What do you mean?
I don't think he goes there if they don't trade Lonzo, but I think they're a serious contender.
That would solidify the fact that the NBA is great entertainment if he goes there.
It is.
And I mean, I know it already is. That was the big topic last week when I was your one viewer, but
yeah,
the whole thing is that it's so hard to watch.
What pissed me off was Spike Eskin tweeted something about how he thought the billboards were stupid because when 2 weeks we went from world champions to being like desperate and like showing like, hey, competition, like we need you to help us win. First of all, yeah, you do need LeBron James, and second of all, the NBA is not like the other 3 sports leagues where it's not actually a sports league.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's literally just about attracting stars to play. To just so happen to play for one city. Yeah.
Right.
And the only way to get around that is to try to tank and get it's something in my eye. The only way to get around that is to tank for multiple years to get enough good young players where you can attract other guys.
And that goes back to what I was saying about college, how you don't necessarily want to go to the best team. Like you want to show people what you can do on a bad team. Like in the NBA, it's different. Like you're not gonna if you think you're a top 5 player in the NBA, you're not gonna hope that you get drafted by like the Atlanta Hawks and just suck your whole career, but be good. Like you want to win. So,
you could also be in a situation like Giannis where you just turn into a star for the first 6 years of your career, and then probably leave in free agency.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, it's just the fact that like that's sort of like the standard in the NBA is annoying.
It sucks, but that's the way it is. That's why I don't like. I never rooted for the Sixers, and I rooted for them. I was never like an actual like diehard fan of the Sixers until Hinkie took over. Just because I don't think the NBA is set up for teams to be competitive. I just don't think that's what it's about.
Well, that was the Philly thing that we sucked for a couple of years. Like
yeah, but they did that so they could be competitive.
Yeah, no, they weren't just doing that for money. But the NBA, I don't think the NBA likes the fact that the Sixers tanked.
You think?
Oh, you think?
Tyler, what led you to that? The fact that Sam Hinkie was run out, or the fact that Jerry Colangelo hired his son so they wouldn't do it?
Well, you see what Mark Cuban said last week?
Yes.
He said like tanking was stupid.
And they find him. Well, no. Cuban said tanking was stupid when Hinkie was the Sixers, and then he said tanking's probably our only option, and then they fined him $600,000. Yeah.
Which, in case you follow Darren Rovell, is actually only 28 Cuban dollars.
Why do you follow Darren Rovell?
I don't. I saw the tweet quoted. Relax.
Wait, am I the only person here that follows Darren Rovell?
I follow Darren Rovell.
Thank you, Tyler.
Oh, Lord.
He works for MSESPN. I think Bugatti's was the one who got me on to saying that. I actually say that all the time.
It's a Clay Travisism.
Oy vey.
How about Sean Miller's contract? Did you guys see what that was all about?
Yeah. So wait, how does that work? He gets more money for being fired for cause?
Yeah. If like you know how like either when you're a coach, you get fired or you get run out, like Fran Duffy's about to.
Yeah.
Run out of time. If he gets fired and not ran out, then he gets like so much more money. I don't know.
Well, it's called the severance package.
No, it's incentivizing him to go after people and get caught by the NCAA.
Yeah, do it as long as you
That's
get caught.
not what it is at all. But that's how the media would have you believe.
Hey man, listen, if you're gonna pay me $10.3 million to get caught by the NCAA, where do I start picking up the recruits?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the key is not to get caught. It's to have it discovered by the time you're already gone. That's the way you make even more money.
Ideally,
people would argue that they don't want their wins to be vacated, but look at Louisville. Like those guys on the 2013 team aren't sitting at home like, oh crap, I really wish we would have won the tournament that year. Like,
I'm sure Reggie Bush really misses his Heisman.
Yeah, exactly.
Kevin Ware is selling T-shirts.
Wait, does that mean that Kevin Ware never broke his leg?
Wow, wait, you made. I can tell you made that joke thinking you were the first person to make that joke.
Oh, really? Someone made that joke?
That's been used a lot.
Oh.
That's been.
A shame.
I can tell hearing you that you like actually didn't realize that like I would have made that joke to start the show as like a joke because of how many people have made it.
Wow. Yeah. Nick's happiness didn't last very long.
Much like Rick Pitino.
Perfect. That's what we needed.
I'm sorry.
I cracked a Pitino joke in front of some of my friends, and like nobody understood what I was talking about. I forget what it was, but I was like, "Wow, I was faster than Pitino," and they were like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh."
You need to
I sent him
I think there's probably a story online somewhere just where he described the encounter.
Yeah, Deadspin. I found
no
it.
one.
You consume Deadspin too?
I read it because I wanted to show my friends what that whole Pitino thing was
like
about.
if your friends don't get Pitino jokes, you need new friends. Like I think that's just the bottom line.
I think you're the only people I know besides intern and like Addison that get Pitino jokes.
I'd like to point out that I believe there's a small cult of us forming. That would include
forming. This cult has been formed for about 6 years now.
No. I mean, even this smaller cult. As smaller cult.
That was a good one, Cantor. I had to give you props.
Thank you.
I didn't know what you said.
I said this is cult week.
It wasn't even that good either.
Anyways, I mean a cult within the cult.
Oh, okay. A subcult.
Yeah, including future Bergsboro writer Tyler Sandora. Go ahead. Cut me off, Jason. What'd you need to say? What was funny?
No, you said subcult. I think subculture is like actually a thing. Keep going.
I know it's a thing.
Literally, but Ray was describing it like it's like it was some new revelation. I'll mute myself.
Thank you. He even knew that like he totally tried to jump on me for something that wasn't real.
Oh, it was real. I thought it needed to be said.
No. I personally know that there's a thing called a subculture. I was jumped down my throat about people saying, "Oh, there's been a cult for 6 years," and I was trying to clarify the fact that this was a cult within the cult. And then apparently, again, I was under attack. So if you would like to relax and listen to me, I think I've got this.
Sorry, Scott Kinger just a game tying home run in the ninth inning. I got an alert for it.
Oh my lord! Baseball talk.
Scott Kingery, Philly's second base prospect. Guy, He had 20 homers and 20 steals by the end of May last year.
Now, so, I know that you were big on MLB draft prospects a while ago, and I always thought that was like the weirdest thing. But
I'm less so on draft.
We were on a bus to a tour of the Link or Citizens Bank, whatever that was.
Citizens Bank.
And you and Short Stack were standing there, and you showed me a video of Aaron Judge and told me this kid was a
Yep.
beast. He was like 17, and I was like, what is
Yep.
he done? And like, I vividly remember you telling me that.
Because I wasn't this was the year about 3 months early I drafted Aaron Judge in my dynasty league, but no one. So I saw short stack like three months later, and he's telling all you guys about how he's the best player ever, and every single one of you laughed in his face.
Well, I laughed at him because he's him. This kid,
underrated.
This kid was like 14 and got credentialed for minor league baseball.
Yeah,
He did?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
another thing. Burke to Bell Endeavor for this summer, getting credentialed at Reading Phillies games.
Okay.
I would think
Trent Thunder game.
Wait, how far is
we need
Reading
to
from you
get-
guys?
It's 45 minutes from us.
really.
Really?
Yeah. You can get there.
We
in
need-
30 if
We
you
need
can.
to get credentialed for when the Binghamton Rumble Ponies come to Trenton.
That's what they're called? That's Tebow's team?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. Well, that's also a huge MLB fans team.
But what was it? Oh, when are we starting our fantasy league? I'm excited for it.
Well, we can during spring break we can put it together.
Spring breaks like next week, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
What's going on here?
We're starting
We're
a
starting
fantasy
a fantasy
baseball
league
league because I'm going to watch
with,
baseball this year.
with Langster Gangster.
Oh, I see. Hey,
And huge MLB
what's
fan.
he
You guys
up to?
can join if you want. We need more bodies.
I'm always down to play fantasy baseball until June. So
Yeah,
I'm
I play fantasy baseball until the draft's over, and then I don't pay attention to my team until the next
You
year.
don't even do the draft.
No, you probably go auto pick. I look at my roster, edit my lineup for the first week, and then I'm done.
Solid.
fair. Where was I going with this? Getting back to the whole short stack. Underrated storyline of short stack's life. No longer called short stack.
He's huge.
He is big now.
Miguel Andujar hit a walk-off.
What if he's listening to this right now?
I
There's
can
like a
guarantee you nobody's
2%
listening.
chance.
Now, I will say, I'm not going to say anything, but I will say it's kind of fitting that I'm in my Barry Bonds jersey to bring up short stack. Not saying, just saying.
Yeah.
I gotcha. No, I'm with you.
No, I'm following your lead right there. I got you. Head on right there. And finally, what was that third? Oh yeah, he applied to be a Burke Bell writer for all of about 2 seconds, and might have lasted longer in our application system than Patina.
And it's also important to note, I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying, Burke DeBell does have a strict anti-doping policy.
We
That
do.
is fair.
We do.
Do we drug
That's
test?
the website somebody
Yes, we
would
do.
write.
Yeah.
As future Burke Bell writer Tyler Sandora might tell you, we are very, very forward and thorough in the hiring process and only bring on the best. So
It was pretty much your brother saying, we can't pay you anything, but you should stop writing for the website you get paid for and come to us. But then
An
I
intriguing
also
argument.
realized if I did that, I'd have to deal with him more often.
That's a plus. Come on.
the intern?
Yes.
Listen, I love Matt, but we argue about literally everything.
Who?
Intern.
Thank you.
We argue about literally everything, which is, I think it's fun, and I bet he's listening to this right now. But like, why does he always like be mean to me sometimes? Like,
I don't know. That's
Intern punches up. So I think if anything, it should be a compliment to you.
intern.
maybe
there
I'm
was,
steroids.
like, There was about
that's mental steroids.
There were a few months last year where I was like, or not even a few months, just like whenever I would like be occupied last year, and intern would constantly try to text me that he's you know what he stopped doing? He stopped starting conversation with a question.
I will say it's been a big change. Also, I'd like to point out that he has stopped asking for Ray and J Show reunions, so I'm grateful for that.
He's also stopped asking me about cryptocurrency, and I'm a little bit concerned.
that's going to start.
I think he might. No. That's not why I'm concerned. I think he might have figured it out for himself.
Oh no, there's
That's
no
something
way.
we should be concerned
If I know
about.
anything about intern, he needs to ask you for about 4 more months about it before he even comes close to figuring it
Listen,
out.
I don't want to confirm anything because, again, we're not into divulging all of our investment secrets because we're all going to be gajillionaires before everyone else. But he may or may not have approached an authority figure in his life about investing.
No.
Investing in what?
Bitcoin.
Some form of cryptocurrency.
Jesus Christ.
I can't confirm or deny, but there may have been an
Now,
instance.
you guys might be interested. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I'm working on a cryptocurrency that is directly tied to Jim Edmonds' performance in the 2005 season.
How?
I'm first in line to buy that, just to let you know.
Yep.
Oh, wait! Breaking news.
Put me down
So
for it.
every time, what?
Columbus beat Washington. So if the Flyers win tonight, then they're tied. They're tied
baby.
with 12 minutes left in the third. If the Flyers win tonight, they're first place in the Metro.
Jet
Okay,
me the
that doesn't
red.
mean anything because the first place in the Metro changes every night.
Okay, well, it's something when they were in last place in the Metro like 2.5 months ago.
Okay. Well, so were the Penguins.
Oh, breakaway! Is that Dale Weiss? He didn't score. Yeah, that was Dale Weiss.
I'm watching the Flyers game right now.
I'm pulling it up right now. I have to
But,
mentally prepare myself for the
But
Golden
yeah,
Knights.
so basically how this thing works is every time Jim Edmonds hits a home run or makes an outstanding outfield play, any excess currency gets destroyed, so the value increases. And every time he strikes out, more currency is put out there.
So
But that doesn't happen very often.
Is your currency going to be like the 2005, 2008 Phillies, except it's just 2005 Jim Edmonds?
Basically.
Wait, Nick, how is there not?
But here's the beauty of it. Every
There
time
needs to be
Jim
a
Edmonds gets up to
2005
bat, no one has any idea what this is going to do.
There needs to be a 2005 Jim Edmonds Twitter account.
I might have to make that happen.
Oh my
Every
God.
night, we just tweet out like what he did the night before. Like Jim Edmonds goes
starting to like I'm really starting to like the possibility of a Sandora Bogatis podcast.
And I think it might have to happen just to rival AnyPod, because AnyPod, I was so like I don't think I can understate this how excited I was for AnyPod, and I was just no offense, but I was just severely disappointed
because you know nothing about baseball prospects. But
no, because like I was expecting if you look at Huge,
he took shots.
He really didn't though. He said that I had some bad takes, and then Mark had some bad takes, and DeBundo doesn't follow him back.
He also said some things that we had to cut. Like he went full out.
Oh, I wasn't aware you were able to edit.
Yeah, we had to cut something he said.
Like knowing who he is and like throwing your personality in there, and granted, intern wasn't able to talk. But like I thought the mixture of those three would like ultimate podcast, but it didn't really happen. At least not the first time. So we'll see what happens this week.
So to recap, we kind of opened the show with me declaring victory on the week, and now I have Nick so upset that he might do another podcast on top of this, and we got a blog out of him.
Okay.
Right.
I might be retiring from the lifestyle blogging game because now I like sports.
Right. Do we tank the AnyPod so he gets even more mad with it and creates his own?
No. That's a gold mine waiting to happen. I would also like to throw out there that we have begun headhunting search for potential lead Pittsburgh writers. In direct response to the lifestyle.
I will have you know, I was the only person to put out a blog about Derek Brassard. The entire Pittsburgh staff. The Penguins make the biggest trade they've made since Justin Schultz. I
normally
was the only one to put
Nick,
out
I'm
a
not
blog.
sure. Nick, when something happens to Philly, Ray or intern will normally message us saying like, "Hey, who wants to cover this?" I feel like you don't do the same with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but like these kids don't even follow me back, so I don't know what you want.
That's hilarious.
I'm not sure the one Greek kid who like shares all my opinions on the Penguins. Like, I'm not sure he actually exists.
Panos? I can assure you Panos exists. Panos doesn't respond to my texts. I was in the last from the chief. If you got all the way to the end,
I did. I forgot it was Panos, but I knew someone like didn't know your phone number.
I feel like if any
I'm not
kid-
sure if he doesn't know my phone number or if he just decided to stop responding to me because we have not heard from Panos in like a month, and I'm kind of concerned.
I feel like if any kid was not going to follow you, Nick, it would not be the Greek kid.
Yeah, I know, right? Like
What you did at the 2015
I am so
NBA draft?
ridiculously pro Greek. I'm so pro Matt Cook and pro Daniel Sprong, and this kid just doesn't want to follow me back.
Does he know
And
what you did at the
I'm his
2015
boss.
NBA draft?
Well,
I
said,
don't think this kid is aware of my NBA draft rituals.
we are headhunting as Nick begins to transfer over to lifestyle blogging.
I literally just said I'm retiring from lifestyle blocking.
We're not going to
Big
believe that
brutal.
one yet.
Okay, fine.
you-
Well, actually, no.
Wait, hold on.
I had to put out one more to hit the over, and then I'm retiring.
Does retiring from lifestyle blogging mean you're going to start doing the best 4 things a week that you originally agreed to do, or you're just going to stop?
4 things a week?
That what you originally agreed to do?
I don't remember that ever being an agreement. I remember
It was last week. It was literally last week. Ray's like, "Hey, Jason and Nick, you should start doing like a best 4 things you saw each week," and I did it, and you did a lifestyle blog.
that wasn't no. That wasn't part of mine and Ray's conversation.
Au contraire, senor. Let's see. Oh yeah,
You didn't say the best 4 things you've seen.
you and Jason do like a top 4 stories / things you saw for Berg / Philly in the week. It's a blog, so whatever you want, you write at your leisure and put it up.
Okay,
every day.
I misread that. I'll admit that, but I just
And then your
Wait, it was
response,
funny.
you got it. Sunday will have to be my writing day, though.
And I wrote on Sunday.
Yeah, but you missed the you got it part.
I think that's a stupid idea for me. But you can continue doing that, can't I? Because
Thanks.
I don't work
It's
for
real
Bleacher
degrading.
Report or BuzzFeed for that matter.
No, we're not asking you to do a quiz as to whether or not you are actually Phil Kessel. All right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you read mine, but I discussed. I don't even know what I discussed. I think I discussed the Antipod and Jake Arrieta.
I didn't read.
We gave we gave Jason 4 things to talk about, and he talked about 6. So, it was the Philly 4 brought to you by our 6 topics.
Yeah, it will be. Well, as I said, it will weekly. It'll be anything between 2 and 8, and I titled it 4 because that's what you told me. This week I have 2 right now. It's Markelle Fultz's jump shot and the LeBron billboards. Well,
I think
we'll
I
be
might write
building
about
as the
Jim
week
Edmonds
goes on.
this week, but stay tuned.
Yeah, we're just gonna
Real-
keep it as a lifestyle blog. I really can't trust it to be anything Pittsburgh related.
Well,
Oh,
'cause
you could be a crypto expert.
I am not an expert, and legally, I am not a financial advisor.
Oh, yeah, that's correct.
However, Litecoin's been doing great recently, and VeChain,
Nice.
there's a rebrand coming, and that thing's going through the roof.
When did Michael Barkan start the blue glasses thing?
I was just about to ask that.
Because like I've seen
My
him.
grandma hates that guy.
He.
I'm just saying.
That's like something I'd say like out of nowhere, like, oh yeah, my dad's a huge Matt Olson guy. So they were like, oh yeah, my grandma hates.
What did
Michael
your
Barkan.
dad did something this you showed me like a
Markelle
picture.
Fultz was at the bowling alley that my there's 2 bowling alleys near my dad's that we go to. There's one we go to during the winter, one we go to during the summer, just based on like which one's offering the best deals at the time.
You have your spring training bowling alley.
No.
You have
Okay,
your
so
season
we have
bowling alley.
no. The way bowling works, summer is the season for amateurs. So the one you bowl in the summer is like your spring training league. So like they're just We have one alley that we normally go to, and that's my dad bowls in a league like September to May there.
My stomach actually hurts right now.
There's one bowling alley where we'll bowl September to May, and then once my dad's league ends there, he doesn't get the weekend specials that he normally gets, and there's another one that's slightly cheaper, so we go there.
Actual tears.
But the one that we bowl September to May, Markel Fultz was at. Yeah, I know this place so well that literally like the lights are off Saturday night. Markel Fultz puts like 3 videos on Snapchat. I'm like, oh yeah, he's at Laurel Lanes. Like I can just tell. He didn't have a Snapchat filter, but you could clearly tell he was at Laurel Lanes.
Clearly, that's the first thing I thought too.
Yeah. So anyway, I texted my dad like Markel Fultz was at Laurel Lanes last night, and he goes, were you there? And then he goes, did he? And then he goes, did he gutter his shot? Which I thought was hilarious, but you thought the "were you there" thing was funny.
Wait, what was the second part he said? I thought that was funny too.
Did he gutter his shot?
Oh yeah.
You think?
No, I thought it was so funny. Like obviously, like you would have told him.
Yeah.
Like you would have been freaking out if you actually
would have told him like in the moment.
Not texting him like 12 hours later, like, hey, he was there.
But like in fairness to him, I could see something like where like if I didn't see it on Snapchat, my dad, it would be like, oh yeah, of course, like how else would you know? Like I could see it being both ways, or it would be very believable. So yeah. I'm not gonna.
No, I just thought it was funny. I think your dad's like.
Yeah.
I think your dad's hilarious. I think your dad might be like the next Mike Portnoy.
Yeah. Oh.
Right. Is your dad still an avid listener of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast?
Do they still do it during the off season?
I don't know actually.
Oh wait, Ray, you were gonna talk about not endorsing gambling. Tyler Sandora's cousin literally does a show with a Vegas sharp, and it's like to it. It's a
wait, who's the Vegas sharp?
I would like to inform the audience currently watching this show that this podcast does not sponsor any gambling whatsoever,
or performance-enhancing drugs.
We also no longer sponsor.
Well, actually, no, that's not true. We don't endorse performance-enhancing drugs for kids whose names rhymes with Drock.
Stop it! Brandon. Don't do this! Jesus Christ!
But if you're going for the Baseball Hall of Fame, I am completely behind you.
Okay. Let's that.
Wait. Anyway,
no. We have to give the public service announcement. This podcast does not sponsor gambling, and
I'm talking about a gambling podcast.
I'm not talking drugs for people whose names might rhyme with Sock Mandis.
Did you know?
And if you do have a problem with gambling, please call 1-800
or steroids.
And if you have a problem with steroids, talk to Sock Mandis. Yeah.
He can hook
Thank
you
up. And Jason, the floor is yours.
Cancer, underrated fact about Ross Tucker, he actually has an Android, not an iPhone.
You've told me this. Because you
I'm starting to think that he might have an iPhone that's like for personal reasons.
Do you think I feel like he's big enough in a Big J game where he could have 2 phones.
Absolutely.
But no, he does his podcast with the Vegas Sharp. His name's Steve Fezzik. I believe he's the only guy to win the Vegas Super Contest twice.
Wow, I'm proud. I'm proud.
Yeah. So whenever
I used to talk to him a lot when I was younger, but then he had the way we're related is through his dad and my grandpa. And they had a bit of a falling out. I won't go deep into that. But so he doesn't really talk to my side of the family that much anymore. But I think we get his Christmas card. Like his mom still talks to him. His mom still talks to my mom, and I get his Christmas card. My mom's texted him a couple times, and he follows me on Twitter and like reads my stuff sometimes. And he'll like reach out to my mom. I don't know why he doesn't text me actually. But he'll like reach out to my mom. Like he's friends with a bunch of sports writers in the Reading and Harrisburg area, and some of them follow COBL, and they'll be like, "Hey Ross, we saw your cousin like wrote an article."
Oh damn!
He's actually a pretty big J. I should talk to him more.
Oh, he's a big J.
I feel like that would be a pretty good resource if you're trying to go into the field that your cousin is like pretty good at, and has like multiple connections in like high places. I feel like you should probably get on that a little bit.
Quick.
Anybody
Quick
know where he went to
game.
college?
Turkey?
Princeton, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He's actually a
Quick
really good
game.
basketball player in high school.
That Tyler wanted to play, so I'm gonna put him on the spot. Big J or Little J?
Oh yeah, well that was pretty much just a big humble brag thing for me to talk about my Big J experiences in the last week. Actually, if I ever become a Bird to Bell writer, I'm just going to have a blog about my Big J experiences. So last week, Ray and I are starting a big pizza stop phenomenon while we go to high school basketball games. So I figured I would go to this place called Franco's Pizza, about 10 minutes from my house. I think I've been there before. I got takeout from there. So here I go. I walk in. I'm wearing like jeans and like a nice shirt, like getting ready to go to a basketball game.
Sick brag.
And I walk in, and this is like a sit-down restaurant. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, I was kind of cut for time, and I was like, I want to sit down and eat. I sat down and ate the best 2 slices of pizza in my entire life. And I went to the best high school basketball game that I'd seen.
And they don't really have good pizza down in Philly, do they?
That's not. See, you say that because there's bad
was a
pizza.
question.
Just because there's
That was a
bad
question.
pizza. No, they. Never mind.
If all you've ever eaten is New York pizza, and then you come to Philly, you're obviously going to think this sucks.
Yeah,
but
that's
in Philly. Like, our standards are this pizza's really good, but then when you go to New York, you're like, holy crap, what did I just eat? So, like, from our perspective, Franco's Pizza is unbelievable, but you probably think it tastes like crap.
I think it's like a 7.2.
Well, thanks a lot. We
That
just
actually
went
was an
from a
8.8.
sponsorship deal with Franco's to never get a sponsorship deal from Franco's. So
That's not true.
I'm still holding out on the Collegeville Italian Bakery.
I have a connection there.
We do have a connection there. We have multiple.
I have a connection.
I have multiple. So
Sick brag.
Yeah, just saying.
For anybody wondering, it looks like Roman Catholic just won the PCL.
Oh,
wow!
And a very controversial thing that we can actually get into right now is a shot clock in high school basketball. They dribbled the ball out for 1 minute and 26 seconds, and then scored
Yeah,
with
they
1 second
need
left
it.
on the clock. They absolutely
need it.
If kids want to be prepared for the next level, it's total baloney that in the Catholic League championship game you can dribble the ball out for 1 minute and 30 seconds. But
yeah, it's absurd.
if there's no rule about it, I love it. I love dribbling the ball out for 2 minutes, but it's not real. It's not real basketball. But
Who are they playing?
Bonner Prendy.
Was Bonner that one kid that got on Sports Center over the weekend?
Yes. And you know what? Owen, I was texting him after that happened because he got linked on SportsCenter. Like, they reached out to him and were like, "Hey, we're going to use your video in the top 10. Is that cool?" He's like, "Yeah." And then one fellow Big J, David Melander, reached out to him and said, "My friend Owen McHugh just got on SportsCenter." I texted Owen.
I saw
and said,
that.
"Oh boy!" I was like, "Oh boy, you've hit the peak. What was better, getting on the top 10 or having Melander tweet at you?" And he was like, "Haha."
And call him his friend.
Does he actually know Melander or no?
Yeah, they cover Melander. Well, they're in attendance at basketball games together. Owen's covering the game. Melander's there, writing his game recaps, which I think are absolutely hilarious.
Reading his game caps, you mean?
Yes,
That's crazy that Owen's diverse enough from covering like mid-season league games at Lower Moreland to covering like PCL semifinals.
Owen's a warrior. He'll do it. That kid will do whatever it needs to be done.
Also, there's a. Go ahead.
He texted me this morning. At about 11, well, I saw it this morning. It was about midnight, and I had shared with him a preview story that I was going to write today. And he said, "My 9 a.m. class got canceled. I've got nothing to do today. I'll do the story for you while you're at school." Like, that's a big J.
Wow.
That's a big J.
I've met Owen maybe once. Fantastic guy.
Actually,
love him.
How many times have I met Owen? Probably 5 times. Probably 5.
Well, I'd also like to, as we're reflecting on Big J moments, the moment that Sandor and I became Big J's, the first team we ever interviewed, the Cardinal O'Hara girls basketball team, has won the Catholic League title. Yeah. So I'm not going to say we did a lot for them, but I think we did a lot for them.
And another example of Ray and I being right before everybody else was right, we went to a Westchester University game and interviewed one Frank Rokins, who just happens to have a chance to be the CSAC Player of the Year.
Wow.
And we wrote a story on him based on what we saw the first night.
Again, just big J's.
Huge.
I think Tyler coming on the show tonight was pretty much a victory lap on his part, and somehow I also tried to make this about my victory lap. So,
I would actually be interested in starting a Bert DeBell podcast with one Nick Bugatis, if you'd be interested.
Oh, yeah.
Sandora and Sheesh, that's what we call it.
The name needs some work, but I'm down for it.
Wow, this is a fantastic 2-week run for me. I'm taking the win on this one. You guys can close out the show yourselves.
Cantor, that's on you.
I'm the Flyers. There's 3 minutes left in the Flyers game. I think that's on you.
Okay.
I'm actually watching. No.
Stop it. I knew you guys weren't capable of closing out the show. You need the Chief. All right. Any final closing thoughts?
No.
That was blasphemy. Yeah. Listen to any pod.
Going straight downhill.
Okay. Can we get this not jumbled? Jason, we'll start with you.
Listen to the AnyPod, and I just want to get a word in.
Wait. Is it the AnyPod or AnyPod?
It's AnyPod. The title of the show is called AnyPod, so just the AnyPod, I guess.
You did the opposite of answering my question right there.
I just call it the AnyPod. We tried to take AnyPod, the handle, and it was already taken.
Yeah, I'm calling it AnyPod, but listen to it. And I'm sorry that your handle was taken. I thought it was a great handle choice on your part.
I think I'm going to start a show called ManyPod.
Ooh.
And represent the common man.
And just one more thing. I have no actual baseball analysis. I'll save that for AnyPod. But just it's happening. We can't ignore it.
I'm with you there.
That's fake news. I tried to talk about JD Martinez, and you literally shushed me.
That was Ray.
It was both of you.
No, I wasn't letting you take away from Nick's shining moment tonight when he gets to talk about the Brassard trade. That was all him.
Oh, Mrazek just saved the game.
Okay, I want to go watch the finish that because big hockey hardo guy.
What time are you at, Cantor?
Wait, I am at. Oh wait, I'm way behind.
Yeah,
I was at 2:17. I didn't realize it. I'm at 1:30.
Thoughts? Closing thoughts?
Derek Brassard is a Pittsburgh Penguin.
Fantastic. Tyler, I loved seeing your face on the show tonight. I know you're really proud to be on here.
College basketball is going downhill, and they won't fix it until they let Jay Billis be the president of the NCAA.
Jay Billis overrated in my book, but
oh my goodness!
No, bad take, freezing cold take. All right, thank you all for watching. We'll be back same time next week. Probably not with Tyler, but maybe if
I'll be watching.
I know Jason probably won't be with us because he'll be busy, and yeah, that's about it. That's all I got for you. So thank you all for watching, and we will. Well, I should say thank nobody for watching, but we will see you next week regardless.